Get the behind-the-scenes information on the breweries and beers you love with What's on Tap's Brewery Sessions.
What's on Tap podcast, and today we're doing a brewer interview. We are here at South Plains Brewing Company in Malmö, Sweden, to talk with the founder, CEO, brewmaster, Jeff Brown. And we are going to talk about Hoppapalooza as well, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. We're very excited about that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
All right. And so you are an American implant like myself.
Yes, I am.
How long have you been in Sweden?
Well, I sold my house in 1999, just over the Berkeley Hills in San Francisco, and left for France. I made a deal with my old company. They were going to retrain me after I'd hurt my back. And so I went to chef school in France. I got a master's in French cuisine, master's in French pastry. Ended up working 2 years at Hotel Ritz in Paris. And then after that, I came to Sweden. And so around 2002, I landed in Sweden. Danish wife. We tried to stay in Denmark, fought Danish immigration, couldn't stay.
I hear it's really tough.
Yeah. And I did what any good American would do. I went out and hired a lawyer and fought him tooth and nail and could never get stay.
Wow.
And now we have 4 kids. I worked as a chef for like 10 years here. And, you know, chefing's hard work.
Yeah.
You're on your feet, long hours, stressful. And I was a long-time home brewer in the States. And so in 2012, I launched this brewery.
Because you were one of the, I would say one of the early kind of craft brewers in Sweden. Like, because in 2012, I mean, there really wasn't that much of a home brew, or it wasn't a craft beer market.
Not like there is now.
No. It was mostly a lot of imports. And then, of course, your big Starpromens and Rips and all that stuff for
and
Swedish
St.
beer.
Eric's, and there was a few around.
Yeah.
There was Narke, and but you're right, it's really, really taken off. Now just in this area, there's like 35 microbreweries just in southern Sweden.
Yeah, it's crazy, just the explosion of
stuff. They're just popping up every day.
Yeah.
And, they're all different sizes. A lot of them are brewing on nano systems with, a 200-liter Braumeister or something like that.
Yeah.
And then some of them are popping up and they go big, like Uncharted just opened up and he went with a 30-hectoliter system.
Wow, it's
huge.
He's not holding back.
It's like 3 times my size.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah, to start off like that. And he's doing well. He's got a canning machine. And so there's all different sizes popping up. And, all different types of beer, too.
So what was your first beer?
It was American Pale Ale.
Okay.
And what it was, I came to Sweden, and I had heard a lot about European beers, but I really didn't know Swedish beers. I mostly knew German and English beers. And when I got here, I was a little bit disappointed because it was just a lot of light lagers that all tasted the same.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a Prips or Nerland's Gold or whatever.
I mean, I like them. They're okay. But what was happening in California with the craft beer movement was just so intense and so much going on. And so then I went to Systembolaget and I bought some craft beers from California. And they were pretty good, but they were not near as good as they once were in California. Yeah. And the reason is because it takes about 10 to 12 weeks to ship them here on a boat. And they go through the Panama Canal and they get hot and they get cold and they get old. And when they're here, they're not fresh anymore. And they don't taste as good and they taste kind of skunky from the taste, And so I thought to do hoppy, fresh American West Coast style beers locally here in southern Sweden.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was mostly in 2012, it was mostly like tattooed hipsters drinking my American Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Other people that drank Store Stark, they just thought it was weird.
Yeah. And now, I mean, the market's completely shifted.
Totally.
And how do you see that's affected, how you approach the market now?
Well, I have a pretty wide range. I think that it's important to have a wide range. I have some hoppy beers. I have some lagers. I have some more progressive beers. And so I have a pretty wide range. I think that's a a key to approaching the market. Also, I think you need to be diversified, where here in Sweden that not everything's in Systembolaget, but that you export, you're also in the 3.5 market.
Yeah.
And you're in different markets so that if one falls, it doesn't destroy you.
And do you export to other countries a lot too?
Just Denmark mostly right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking at your what you release, and it's pretty varied, from pilsners, APAs,
Chili Porter. I got a black IPA.
Saison, wheat ales.
The Saison also, you can try it. I'll bring one later. It's got fermented on red beets and raspberries.
Oh, nice.
So it's got a little earthy beet flavor and a nice raspberry touch on it. And when it's fresh, it's kind of purple.
Okay. And you've recently got into sour beers as well.
Yeah, I have another label, Funkyland Fermentationist. And I've released 3 sour beers on that. And I've got one more, a special release that I did a collaboration with Lunen, who they won the competition at Maltes. Yeah. And so we're going to release a Saison, and it's got some funk on it. And then I've got a couple of sour beers in the works. So it's something that I'm not doing regular, and I'm not doing all the time because they take such a time to do it.
Yeah, there's definitely an investment involved
in
that.
You know, but I've often can get one going and put it down for a few months, and then put some fruit on it or do it as it is, and it's very good. Okay. And so it's just a new market for me to reach.
All right. And so how did South Plains Brewing how did you come up with the name?
Okay, well, as I told you, when I was working as a chef, I used to work down in Holviken, and there was a farmhouse there that I'd done private dinner parties at. Excuse me here.
All right, I'm going to do a little pause.
I'll just pause there. Go ahead.
Okay.
So I used to work at a farmhouse down in Holviken called the Three Lily Buds. And it was a super, super nice farmhouse filled with art. And he had a big kitchen there, and he had an Aga stove. And I would do like private dinner parties for like 50, 60 people. And let me just put this phone on silent here. This guy would take off and go down to South Africa in the winters. So I would often have this big farmhouse to myself. So I started homebrewing down there. And oh man, all of his friends and everybody thought the beer was just fantastic. They're like, we got to start a microbrewery. I'm like, yeah. So I looked into the cost, looked into buying a microbrewery, and we talked about setting up in the farmhouse. And so we were going over names. And so I asked him, I said, what's the name of this region anyways? And he's like, well, it's Sodersled. I'm like, well, what is that in English? And he's like, it's South Plains. He goes, there's like Oosterlins, there's different regions down here. I'm like, I kind of like that name. I think that's kind of a cool name. So we formed a business, and I declared the company. And then later, he got second thoughts, and the costs were kind of high, and so then he backed out. And then I wasn't sure if I could do it myself, and I actually found this place in this area, and it's very, very cheap, the rent here. And I bought...
Well, I would say it's not probably one of the more desirable neighborhoods.
It's great for a brewery, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's really that...
as long as you're driving,
industrial kind of area. If you're getting your car detailed, you probably want to come to this area.
Yeah, it's heavily Arabic. I mean, it looks dangerous, but it's really safe. Yeah. I mean, it's petty theft is what you have to worry about. So I found this place, and then I looked and I found used brewing equipment down in Germany. And I'm kind of a jack of all trades where I can build and fix anything. So most microbreweries spend about $3 to $5 million to start up. Mm-hmm. I launched this place in 2012, building it myself for under $200,000.
Wow.
And that was pretty amazing. Now, since then, I probably put about $1 million into it, but it's been from sales. Yeah. So, and I did that $200,000 from some savings, some small business loans, and my salary.
Okay. And do you do anything other than, do you have another job besides
No, I did. In 2012, I continued to run a restaurant for the first year.
Okay.
And, I was going in and I was getting up at 5, going to work at 6, working till 3, and then coming here in the afternoons and working and brewing. And I just had, at the time, I had the American Pale Ale and a Russian Imperial Porter. And I just had 2 beers in Systembolaget, and it was killing me.
I bet, yeah. And, that's rough. That's a long day.
My wife would always say, well, after I quit and I just came here, that the brewery could make enough money to support us, she would say, I notice now that when you sleep, you're rested. Before, when you were working both places, no matter how much you slept, you were never rested.
Yeah, I'm sure your mind is always going, and you're just always on the move, so you never really have a chance to have any downtime.
Yes.
Great. So now a couple of years ago, I think this is the fourth year. Fourth year of Hoppapalooza. What made you want to start a beer festival?
It's a little bit of a tough business having a brewery in Sweden. Taxes are high. You have to rely on Systembolaget, and it's to sell in pubs and restaurants. It takes a lot of work to get out and sell them. And when you get out there in the pubs and restaurants, you go into pubs and they've got beers from all over the world, but they don't have that many Swedish beers.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's really import heavy here.
Exactly.
There's not a huge there's not a lot of nurturing and fostering of
local
local
markets. It's been that way for a long
yeah.
time, and just recently the craft beer market has popped up, but it really hasn't taken off into pubs and restaurants. It has on a small scale and on some specialty pubs, but in general, these places, they're under contract with distributors and suppliers. They build their tap systems. They have to buy their beers from them.
Yeah.
And, if they offer them anything, it's a pale ale from Vermont or, Red Hook or something from Australia. And, to get those beers to Sweden, well, it's a massive carbon footprint. You burn a lot of oil to get that beer here. And so the festival was about bringing attention to the local craft beer market, to letting people be aware that there's lots of great beers around them. They don't have to drink beers from the other side of the planet. If you can just find them and if you just can discover them. And so when people come to the festival, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know this beer's so good. I've never had this. There's literally thousands of beers in Sweden to taste.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have to go outside of the country. And so, in 2017, it's all about sustainability. It's all about using local products and local resources. And so people just have to discover them. And so that's really what the festival is all about.
So in your first year, how many breweries did you have?
Well, the first year was actually, year one was actually in 2013, July, was just an anniversary for the brewery.
Okay.
And so I just put up an offer on Facebook, come down to the brewery, and I do a free buffet.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm a chef.
Yeah.
I did baked salmon, roast pork, pasta salad, potatoes, desserts, everything. I did a big buffet. I set tables right out here, and I got a band that practices underneath called After Som Fisk. They play psychedelic lounge. They played music, and people came down, and they drank beers, and they ate, and that was actually the start of Hoppapalooza.
Okay.
Then the second year, I got 7 microbreweries to come, and we had a few hundred people.
Okay.
And we had some bands lined up, 2 or 3 bands, and it was a great show. And then the next year, we had about 18 microbreweries, and then again, we had about 6 bands lined up, and I would bring in chefs, and they would do food, or Malmo Brygghus did pulled pork, or I had Contrapunkt sent their Indian chef over, and he did spicy Indian curries. And so we did different foods, and it was a great. We had about maybe 500 people, and then last year, and now for these festivals, I charged 250 crowns per person, and that kind of covered the cost of the party. The people that paid the entrance fee, they paid for the party, and it cost about 100,000 to throw that party, and that was to rent tents and tables and a stage and a sound system and registers and buy the till stand and all these things needed to throw the festival. But anyways, then the year after that, which was last year, I did a lot of marketing. I worked with a marketing agency, and I expected to get a couple thousand people, and I still got about 500-600.
Wow, okay.
And I was surprised, and we had 29 local breweries. We had 110 beers on tap. Well, then all the breweries just sold a little bit less, which was kind of disappointing, but it was still good that so many people came. But I kind of came to the conclusion that there's like 600 beer geeks in this area that will pay $250 to come.
Yeah.
And that's it. And other people, they'd kind of like to come, but the cost is kind of high or one reason or another. So then I did this NGBG festival last year. And that was with the city. It was a local festival where they stripped down the street, and I had a craft beer tent in the middle. And we had 7 microbreweries, and we were totally overwhelmed with like 15,000 people.
Wow, that's
Yes,
Impressive, yeah.
and I mean, we were just backed up lines all day, serving, pouring as fast as we can, and we were just overwhelmed, understaffed. And so the city really liked the idea of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm working now with the local city guy. His name is, oh gosh, I'm blanking out of his name right now, Helmar Falk. And he's done a lot of work, like with any social problems or troubles with crime or anything in the area, he solves them. And he's really, really a great guy. He's just done all kinds of stuff with businesses. And, you know, he was so excited that we're doing this festival because it puts a good image on the area. And it brings people in for revenue. Yeah. And, you know, like the people down in Lilletorp, they won't come down here. You know, because they think it's dangerous. And but they'll come down for a festival like this. And so, anyways, we talked about the great success of NGBG. And so this year, the first year, we're doing Hoppapalooza for free.
Okay.
Now, I think we're going to get a massive crowd.
Yeah.
I hope we don't get 300 people and we lose our ass. But I've got 26 breweries lined up. And I've got 10 bands lined up, and I've got 7 food trucks. Actually, I think I've got an 8th one today. This Indian Grill wrote me back that they wanted to come. And so, anyways, it's going to be a great party. I got approval from and the city, Elsie, helped me with this. You know, when they help, things go right through really fast.
Yeah, it moves really fast. much easier, yeah.
And so I got approval from Gatti Contour to close the street in just a couple of days.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I was amazed because I was like prepared for months.
Yeah.
And so we're going to set up tents on the street to serve beers on, and then they'll enter the parking lot, and there we'll have tables and chairs with tents and food trucks, and then the stage on the end.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's going to be a bit different when you do a festival like that where you have 2,000 or 3,000 people. Well, then they're not beer geeks anymore.
Yeah.
They're like normal people who maybe don't know what an IPA is.
Yeah.
They would ask for a store Stark.
Right, and it's a good chance to
educate them
and you know, get them more on board. And I think that you know, when you're going out to restaurants, and I mean the restaurant culture in Sweden has changed so much in the few years that I've been here.
Me too.
That it used to be like you only went out on the weekends, and there was never there wasn't just a place you could go out and get a good hamburger. It was either like really crappy fast food or really high end. There was no middle ground.
Yeah, or you could get a good sausage.
Exactly, yeah. But you've really seen kind of that middle, just kind of go out casual dining environment. And with that, I mean, the beer scene has really kind of pushed the store stock concept out in a lot of ways. I mean, you still find it in some areas, but for the most part, people are much more open to trying much more stuff.
Growing up in California, I've eaten Mexican food my whole life, and I love it. And when I came here, I was like, man, if only there was a Mexican restaurant. If only there was a Mexican restaurant, it would do so good. Mm-hmm. And then after I was here in about 2004, a restaurant closed up right in Triangle, right in the little square, and opens up Fernando's Tacos.
Yeah.
And I was like, great. And I went in there and I had some tacos. They were kind of expensive, but they were really good. And every time I walked by that place, it was empty.
Yeah.
And Fernando's Tacos lasted about a year and they went bankrupt.
Wow.
And nobody would go. But now, Monkey Fist is going, and there's a few taco places around, and they're doing great.
There's Zapata, and then there's the people from California. Is that Monkey Fist? The people from California that opened up in
she's from LA. She's from LA.
Yeah. And they do really good tacos.
Kim.
And
he's Swedish, and she's from LA.
Yeah, so there's like 3 or 4 different taco places now.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty good too. I mean, it's not like it used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought the same thing when I first went. I was like, why isn't there Taco Bell here at the very least, or something like that? Because Swedes love fast food. They love convenience.
The culture is really changing.
Yeah.
It's changing fast, and it's good. And that kind of reflects the whole craft beer movement. Whereas before, people kind of thought to have something kind of logum. Yeah. Now they want to experience something new.
Exactly. I mean, we have Korean now, which we wouldn't have had before, and
and part of this goes in with Swedes travel so much.
Yeah.
And they go around, they come see the world, and they
Yeah, it's really great to see. And I think, honestly, Noma had this kind of underlying effect
Yes.
on the whole region because
Yes.
suddenly people were willing to try, and the chefs that came out of there ended up coming to Malmo or other
Yeah.
parts of the region, and now we've got like some amazing like smoked barbecue places that
Actually, one of the guys I just talked to today, this guy Frederick from Bad Seed Brewing in Copenhagen, he does a specialty beer for Noma.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
coming,
great.
And he's coming to the festival.
Okay. What are some of the breweries that are going to be here?
I've got a big list here.
Just off the top of your head, just quote them all.
I can give you kind of name a few here if you want to give me 1 minute and move your
Sure.
phone over here. Let's see. There's a few that are still kind of undecided, but I can tell you.
Maybe.
Pause it for 1 second.
We're having technical problems here.
Do you want another beer taste?
Sure. Right now I'm drinking the Funkyland Stinkadelic, which is a funky sour amber ale, and I absolutely love it. It is so good.
Yeah. But you could try something else if you want.
Okay.
You could try another sour, or you could try the Saison.
Let's try the Saison. That sounds really good.
Okay.
Pause for 1 second.
So I can tell you some of the breweries. We've got a few more that are kind of like on the fence, not quite sure, but we have Brugghus 19, Brugghus at Finn, Chad Beer, Charles, Friends Brewing Company, Funkyland Fermentationist, that's mine, Huli, Kornheddinge Bryggeri Company, Kungsbryggeriet, Lilla Fabriken, Lunen, that's the one I did the collaboration with, Lundebryggeriet, Malmo Brewing Company, Malmo Cider Company, McGranton, Midtfyn is our farthest one coming. They're coming from the island of Fyn in Denmark.
Okay.
Nerd Brewing, Bra Bryggeri, which is a new offshoot from Norrebro Bryggeri.
Yeah, they have a couple of beers in Southern Holland.
Oh, okay. And Rocket Brewing Company, he's excellent. He's been here before. Pax is a new one, Pax Brugghus. Pine Ridge is also a new one. Raw is a new one, Bryggeri. Then there's me. Then Roots of Malmo, they do kombucha, which is non-alcoholic, is nice to have. Uncharted Brewing Company, that's the one I told you up in Eslov that just bought the big 30 hectoliter system. Westfeldt is a small brewery. Bad Seed is the one I told you is in Noma. And West Coast Beersmith, they're from Göteborg. Olsnedkillen, I can never say that very well.
Yeah.
It's like the Beer Carpenters or something like
that. They're nice Danish breweries.
Yeah. Anyways, about 25 there.
Okay, that's great. I mean, that's a really good collection from like people that are just getting established to some people that have really been in the game for quite a while. So
And so
exciting.
I had a phone call meeting today at 3 o'clock with Untapped in Los Angeles about setting up a venue for a festival.
Okay.
And so you set that up, and then you're on a venue on Untapped that people can check in, and then we'll have a digital tap list for the festival.
Oh, great! So that's really
nice. So all
the
beers will be there, and they'll be right there on Untapped. They've got the ABV, they've got the profile, they've got the label picture, they've got everything, and then people can rate them or take pictures or
Yeah, it sounds like it's a really good collection of breweries there.
Yeah.
And, a lot of variety and different things to try. So
exactly.
So a little something for everyone, it sounds like.
Yeah. And then some bands I've got lined up. I've got Super Tuesdays opening it. They're like a Skånsk rock band. They're excellent. They can be slow or fast and hard. Then I've got Hair Clamps, which does like Motown, rhythm and blues kind of stuff. Reggie Scott's the lead singer on that. And then I've often when I come in here, in the cellar underneath me is bands practicing all the time, especially on the weekends. And so I often hear this one hard rock band that I really like. And so I was in here with my son, he's 14, and we heard that. I go, I love that band down there. And he's like, let's go ask them if they'll play. I'm like, well, I didn't know how to get in down there. So I went down there, and there was like some punk rock girls on the corner. They let me in, and we went and stood outside their door till their set was finished. And then I tapped on the door. And I told them about the festival, and the name of the band is Die Damp, like German.
Yeah.
And so I told them about the festival, and they're like, the 29th, they're like, check their schedule. Yeah, we're free. 5 o'clock, good. I'm like, great, man. And so they're playing at 5.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and then this one, and I can't say it very good, it's like Sega som leder mot slutet. And they play like pretty hard rock. And they've got some videos, and they play, I think some of these guys play at like Swedish Rock Festival and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I've got this one, Sweet Mary, and that's Maria Stiles, and she sang last year with a duet with Lonesome Mac, and it was kind of country western a little bit. And they're playing again, and it's the same band. They used to have this band called the Swingin' Hayriders.
Okay.
And I think one of the guys is out now or can't play for some reason or something, and so they formed this other band called Sweet Mary. And it's kind of like country, kind of swing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay. You got really running the gamut on the music too. So everything from kind of funk and 70s to metal and country. So
exactly. And I kind of like to have like a eclectic assortment of music. Because I mean, I like hard rock, but I don't listen to it all day.
Yeah, true. And it starts at 1
o'clock
and goes until
11 o'clock in the evening. But we'll probably cut off the music about 9:30.
Okay.
Kind of wind it down.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's a full day of excitement and stuff.
Yeah. And so, I hope that people come throughout the day, and not everybody comes at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I've
had that before.
Yeah, it's like all the beer nerds will be there at 1
exactly.
to make sure they don't miss out on like Nerd Brewing or some of the other ones. And then everyone else will filter in through the afternoon.
Sure.
So that's awesome. So I give in the past couple of years, and it's been interesting to see how it's grown and changed and evolved, and it feels like it's just getting gets better every year.
Yeah.
And I mean the lineup of breweries looks awesome. Since you're not charging, what's the system like this year?
Okay, for
since you're not charging the cover fee.
Okay, so I don't charge the cover fee. So instead, I've got some startup costs that I have to pay ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so I asked the brewers to pitch in 1,000 kroners each.
Okay.
And they were happy with that. And then before, they used to sell me their beer at pub prices, and me with the till stand. Then I sold it at what pubs would sell for, kind of. And so we were selling 20 kroners for 10 centiliters, which was nice to go around and taste. And with 110 different beers, you can't taste them all.
Well,
because that's 11 liters. Who can drink 11 liters? Okay, I know a couple guys that can drink 11 liters, but most people can't. Anyways, so this year I said to the brewers, if you guys just pay this up front and help me with that, then you can make more off the beer. So this year they get, of the 20 kroners that's sold, they get 13 kroners.
Okay.
And then the other one pays for the festival. And I figure we need about 700 people to break even.
All right. And so do you still buy tickets to get beers, or do you pay at the stands?
You just buy coins.
By coins?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so everybody, you can buy coins. They're 20 kroners when you come in the door. And I have about 10,000 of these.
Oh, wow. These are special Hoppa coins with the logo on them for 20 crowns?
And you buy those, and then you can go around, and then the breweries have got like little trays that they can stack them in there, and they count them. There's 500 fit on a tray.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure if I had enough, so I just ordered another 20,000, I think it is.
Okay, I think it's probably going to cover it. Hopefully that'll cover it.
The thing is, we started thinking about, okay, what if we have 2,000 people, and what if they start ordering 10 coins each?
Yeah.
That's not that much.
No, it goes pretty fast.
Yes, then that's 20,000 coins.
Yeah.
And we don't want to run out. I don't want to be going back over the brewers and like, can I have some more back?
Yeah, it's like, here, let me give you some money, give me the coins.
And I'll sell them again.
Yeah.
So, so I just figured, okay, so now we got 30,000 coins. Okay. And that should cover it.
Okay, and you need to buy a glass when you arrive?
No, actually, part of the having it with the city, and I'm sorry to say this because I like to drink out of glass, and I don't really like to drink out of plastic, but to have it on a city street, I have to have plastic.
Okay, I guess for liability costs.
Yeah, so I'm just going to get like some PET glasses or something like that. We're probably going to get 40 centiliter glasses so that the breweries, they can serve samples or they can serve
full pours if they want. Okay.
A pint or whatever it is, yeah.
And T-shirts again this year?
T-shirts. Now, before you got T-shirts as part of the admission charge, we'll have T-shirts for sale.
Okay.
if people want it, and they'll be cheap, like 100 crowns.
All right, that's really cheap. Yeah,
it is because you know what? I like for people to be wearing the logos.
Yeah, because I went to
At the festivals, I sell them for 150, but
Yeah.
at this, I'll sell them for 100, and I'll probably have, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred T-shirts,
Okay.
and hopefully they just sell out. And the color is lime green on black this year.
Okay, yeah, because it
It was
shifts
red
color
last
every-
year,
All right,
and the year before that was yellow.
Yeah, I still have one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every beer festival I go to, I always see people walking around those T-shirts.
Yeah, it's a great T-shirt. I mean, it looks great, and it promotes the local scene, so that's always fun.
And I like that all the logos from all the local breweries are walking around on somebody's back.
Yeah, I mean, and it gets it's a good conversation starter too.
Yeah.
All right, are there any other things you'll have for sale there? Like
most breweries, I'll probably get some South Plains shirts.
Okay.
And most breweries will have some merchandise, whether it be beer glasses or I don't know what they have. T-shirts are probably the most common things.
Yeah.
I mean, some guys have like bottle openers and memory sticks with their logo on it or something, but I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Anything else you want to talk about or promote?
Well,
Over here?
I think that's good. Just come on out to Hoppapalooza and if you see the beers in Systembolaget, when you come to Hoppapalooza, make some notes of the ones you like, and you can order those in Systembolaget.
Okay.
And they can come to your local stores.
All right. And are you releasing anything special for Hoppapalooza?
Well, just the one for Lunin, we
Yeah.
have that, which is their kind of funky saison,
Okay.
and that's a Hoppapalooza special. And then also, I've got this one that I've been experimenting with, and that was, I was inspired by a Sour Hour radio show I listened to.
Oh, I love the Sour Hour.
Yes.
It's a great podcast.
Well, I listened to this Chad Yankovic from Crooked Stave,
Yeah.
and he talked about doing a no-boil.
Yeah. That's a.
And so I did that, and it was kind of risky. And I go back and forth. Me and Thomas Franson at Malmo Brewers have a lot of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this, and I said, I want to do this no boil. So basically, you make like a 20% wheat mash and Pilsner mash, and instead of going in the kettle, you go off the mash tun straight into the tank.
Okay.
And it's loaded with lactobacillus. And so it will take off souring immediately.
Yeah.
And then also I grew a culture from Bay Blend, which had like 5 different types of lactobacillus cultures.
Okay.
And I threw that in too. And I soured it, and I checked the pH 3 or 4 times a day. And after, I had it up kind of high on temperature, about between 30 and 35. And the pH dropped down to about 3.7 in about 3 or 4 days. And then I had an all Brett fermentation culture, and I threw that in.
All right.
And so it fermented out. And then, after I got the lactobacillus going, I brewed up another 1,300 liters, and I threw that on top.
Okay.
So now I got 2,600 liters of this sour beer in my big tank.
Nice.
Yeah. And but then a month later, it didn't taste like anything. It just tasted like slightly sour, bland wheat.
Yeah.
And then, like 2 months in, still didn't taste like anything. I was getting kind of disappointed and kind of losing hope in it. And then, after like 3 months, all of a sudden the Brett starts to develop.
Okay.
And then it got some kind of wonderful kind of sour lemon, sour pineapple, tropical flavors. You tasted it.
Yeah, I tasted it earlier, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of not, that's going to be a special release for Hoppapalooza.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I should do just like that or maybe add some berries.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Yeah, it can have
a ton of it in there. So
yeah, I've got for my Funky Land, I've got 3 taps.
Okay.
And then I can have fridge with bottles.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to have one, the Lunin beer.
Yeah.
And then one for that beer, whatever I decide.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got another one that I do where I blend with kombucha, ginger kombucha and guava, and that's Uptown Funk.
Okay.
And I've had that at a few festivals, and it's always very popular.
Is that a low alcohol beer then?
No, it's about 5%.
Oh, okay.
But it's
with the kombucha, you're able to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the kombucha adds a complexity to the sourness.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about putting that in Systembolaget, and I was just actually talking to Roots today about it. And I said, they said, you can come over and you can get some mother. We'll give you a big chunk of mother, and I've got a 200 liter. It looks like this this gelatinous mushroom kind of
the
thing.
The problem is actually keeping it from growing too much.
Yes.
Because it just likes to grow
yes.
and grow and grow.
And so then he says, I said, well, I need to come up with like 200 liters of ginger kombucha.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, but we got that. Just come over, we'll give it to you.
Oh, wow. Nice.
He's like,
yeah.
well, we can do a collaboration. He's like, yeah, collaboration would be great. I go, I can get your logo on the label and everything, and it'll be a collaboration for the Uptown Funk.
Do you do a lot of collaborations?
I haven't done that many. I've only done a few.
All right. Something you're interested in doing more of, or?
Well, I don't know. I know lots of breweries really put a lot of emphasis on collaboration.
Yeah.
And I haven't really that much.
Well, Amager just had their American Days, which is 6 collaboration beers,
yes.
so that's.
And they are like the king of collaborations. Those guys. They've traveled to breweries all over the states and done collaboration, and they know everybody.
Yeah.
They are so incredibly connected, Morton and Jacob. Maybe someday. I'm not quite there yet.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, you've got an amazing facility, and you're doing really good stuff. So it's great, and I absolutely love Hoppapalooza, and I'm rooting for it to take off this year, and hope to see it for many years in the future.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're excited about it, and I'm confident it'll be a great festival. Of course, in Sweden with an outdoor festival, there's a chance of rain.
Always a chance of rain,
and that's just that's what happens here, and people are used to it. And I think people come and they bring their rain jacket.
Yeah.
And if we get some showers, they step under the tents.
Yeah.
But the band keeps playing and the beer keeps flowing. And then a few minutes later it stops and the sun comes out again.
Yeah, it never rains all day. It's always just a little bit of rain.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I haven't checked this week's forecast, or I guess it's 2 weeks away still. So hopefully, crossing fingers, there won't be any rain.
Yeah, it looks good right now, and it's come up and it's kind of warm right now. So yeah. All
right. Well, thank you for your time. And where can we find you online? Is it?
Most things, if you want to know what I'm up to, goes through my Facebook page, which I've got my personal, which is under Jeffrey Brown, and then I've got South Plains, which is Facebook/South Plains Brewing Company, and then I've got Hoppapalooza, which is under Facebook/Hoppapalooza for all the latest things going on there. Then I've also got websites, southplains.se, and then I've got hoppapalooza.se.
Okay.
And then I also do stuff on Twitter and Untapped and Tumblr, and so I'm kind of spread. Almost all my stuff's gone through social media.
Okay,
and then I've got like Roki. They do videos for me, and we get a lot of hits on YouTube, and I put them up on on my website, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So
I see your ads everywhere.
Yeah. I feel like I do too much sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes I feel like I do too much, and I feel like I'm spamming people. I had this meeting about 6 weeks ago with Duffy Agency.
Yeah.
Right. Right across from our.
I actually used to work for them. So,
Well, I was with Sean Duffy and Grant Adams, and they had some real savvy media specialists in there, and we talked about all kinds of things to do. And where I feel like I maybe do too much posts, they're like, no, man, do posts every day. Every day.
Yeah, you really can't do too many posts.
And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, just keep them going, man. Keep them going, because you got to build up a momentum, and you got to get a buzz going, and you got to get connected. And so then I went out and I got on I put Hoppapalooza up on 8 different event sites, and then they all interconnect and everything. Yeah. And so that's what they tell me to do.
Yeah, that's great.
And it works. It seems to work.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting some posters printed this week. And into this week or early next week, we're going to plaster Malmo with 80 posters, Copenhagen with 20.
It'll be hard to miss.
Yeah, and 10 up in Göteborg and a few in Linköping. And that's kind of where the beer enthusiasts are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate being on the show. And we'll put links to everything in our show notes.
Okay.
So we'll be, be sure to link back to you.
Great. Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.